A warm greeting. Today is Saturday, October 21, 2023. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 7:30 in the morning, local time in the northern Lesser Antilles, where Hurricane Tammy is now very close to the island of Guadalupe. I wanted to record this video to provide an update on the forecast related to Hurricane Tammy because during the last night, it has been mostly moving westward, which has raised several questions about the exact path of the center of circulation. However, I have good news for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, as Hurricane Tammy has started to make that turn to the northwest. The forecast remains that it will pass very close to or over the northern Lesser Antilles but at a safe distance from the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. In the visible satellite image, we can see that Hurricane Tammy has a fairly compact circulation. This is favorable for some of the Lesser Antilles islands because, at the moment, hurricane and tropical storm force winds remain over the Atlantic waters. However, it is generating heavy rain. The outer bands have produced a lot of rain on some islands, such as Barbados, and this rain will continue over this region for the next 48 hours, causing flooding problems. If we switch to the infrared satellite image, we can see that the circulation of Hurricane Tammy is quite compact. It is currently just east of the island of Dominica and is heading northwest. It should be passing very close to or over the island of Guadalupe around noon today. Also, take a look at these outer bands that have affected the island of Barbados, generating heavy rain and thunderstorms. It is precisely this rain that will be moving across the Lesser Antilles Arch today and extending into tomorrow. In this image, you can see how it had that west-northwest movement during the past night, but this morning, it has taken that northwest-north turn. There is even a possibility that it will stay just east of the Lesser Antilles Arch, as suggested by the GFS model projection. To clarify, Hurricane Tammy will not be directly impacting the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico. A Hurricane Hunter aircraft is investigating the area and has found the center of circulation at a latitude of nearly 15.5 degrees north. This is evidence that it has taken that northwest turn. With a bit of luck, it will pass just east of the island of Guadalupe, leaving the stronger winds over the Atlantic waters. Furthermore, in the animation of the Barbados Doppler radar image, we can see how the center of circulation has generally moved northwest-north during the last few hours. It is now definitive that it has taken that long-awaited turn, although a bit later than we had previously anticipated. This has few effects on the trajectory forecast. As you can see, in general, the models agree on a northwest-northward movement over the next 2 days, passing very close to or just east of the Northeast Caribbean. It will mainly affect the islands of Guadalupe, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, and Anguilla during Saturday and Sunday. Although most long-term models project that it will move over the Atlantic waters, the European models have a slower movement just north of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, which could cause a more extensive rainfall event for the Lesser Antilles. In terms of intensity, the models agree that it should remain a Category 1 hurricane or possibly strengthen to a Category 2 hurricane as it moves northwest-north. Let's briefly review the current warnings. You can see that a tropical storm watch is in effect for the island of Martinique. Additionally, there is a tropical storm warning and hurricane watch for the island of Dominica. The hurricane warning remains in effect for the islands of Guadalupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Barthélemy, and Anguilla. Due to the westward movement during the past night, a tropical storm watch has been issued for the British Virgin Islands. The National Hurricane Center projects that the center of circulation will pass very close to or over the island of Guadalupe around 2 p.m. today with maximum sustained winds of 140 km per hour. Then, during the afternoon hours, it will cross over Antigua and Barbuda. During the early hours of Sunday, it will pass near Anguilla and St. Barthélemy. It is projected to come closest to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands during the late afternoon on Sunday at a distance of about 166 miles northeast of Fajardo. Let's briefly look at the projections from the best global models. Let's start with the GFS model. As I mentioned earlier, this model projects a mainly north-northwest movement, which would keep most of the tropical storm and hurricane force winds over the Atlantic waters. The GFS projection is slightly to the right of what the National Hurricane Center is projecting. If we look at the European model projection, it is very similar to the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center, estimating that the center of circulation will be crossing over Guadalupe, Antigua, and Barbuda, and Anguilla over the next 48 hours. In this case, some tropical storm force winds and perhaps some hurricane force wind gusts would affect some of the islands to the north of the Lesser Antilles. However, you can see that the tropical storm winds would stay away from the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. If it maintains a path farther to the east, As the GFS model projects, you can see the estimated accumulated rainfall over the next 48 hours, which would be between 75 and 110 millimeters across the Lesser Antilles. For Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, it would be between 2 to 4 inches of rain over the weekend. With this trajectory, the heaviest rain would also remain over the Atlantic waters. With the European model projection, a bit closer to the Lesser Antilles, you can see that the maximum estimated rainfall approaches dangerously close to some of the islands in Antigua and Barbuda, and Guadeloupe, where up to 250 millimeters of accumulated precipitation could fall. For the rest of the Lesser Antilles, it would be between 75 and 150 millimeters. For the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, it would be between 2 to 4 inches of rain. In summary, Hurricane Tammy has finally started to take that northwest turn. It will pass just east of or over the islands of Guadeloupe, Antigua, and Barbuda, and Anguilla as a Category 1 hurricane. A hurricane warning remains in effect for the Northeast Caribbean. At the moment, it is projected to pass about 160 miles northeast of Puerto Rico. The greatest risk associated with this tropical cyclone will be the intense rain that will affect much of the Lesser Antilles, causing flooding. For Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, it will be between 2 to 4 inches of rain over the weekend. Well, with that, I bid you farewell. Stay tuned to Hurricane Info for more information. Subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the red button below the video and then clicking the bell to receive notifications when I post new videos. In the late afternoon or early evening, I will update this forecast with a new video. I hope you all have an excellent day.